All right, guys, another inspirational interview from one of my clients in my Elevate 360 Mastermind, where we take a 360-degree approach to business because bodies build businesses. And today you're hearing from Fractional CMO and brand strategist Louise Taylor. And if you are currently straddling an executive role and aspiring to step out and consult or start your own business, you are going to want to listen in to her story of a 20-year stint as an executive in a CMO role in corporate to pivoting to where she is today in a multi-six-figure business, really pushing towards the seven-figure goal in her third full year of being in business as a fractional CMO. This is a sexy word we're hearing a lot about these days, that fractional role, whether you're coming in many different aspects. It could be a fractional CFO, it could be a fractional sales leader, you name it. But today, Louise is shedding light on what it looks like to be a fractional CMO, and she's sharing her inner journey that she went on to actually go within to unblock and expand so that she could be seen in her light on social in a way that was immediately attracting her ideal clients to scale and grow her business by over 350% in 1 year. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode.
Need some effective, tactical advice that actually helps you get results and makes a real difference in your life and business? You've come to the right place. If you're finding yourself here today, it means you're getting ready to gain serious traction in your business, rapidly multiply your income and impact, and you're ready to make it happen while living all out. Guys, I'm Melissa Hinault, your trustworthy corporate dropout turned six-figure business burnout turned happy and healthy CEO of a multi-million-dollar online business. And you're listening to the Burnout to All Out podcast. On this show, we're serving up innovative growth strategies, simple implementation methods to put them into practice, and action-stimulating inspiration tailored specifically for the modern entrepreneur. Let's dive in.
All right, guys, so excited to do this interview today with Louise Taylor, one of our fellow Elevate 360 Mastermind members who's been with us all year. Louise, I'm so excited to interview you today. I know that you're a fractional CMO, you're a brand strategist, and your company is called CEO of Firefly Effect. I'm so excited to get into our interview with you today because quite honestly, I think you may be one of the few who's pretty much been an entrepreneur like your entire life, just about.
Pretty much. Yeah. There was a gap in there. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
So yes, I started my career as an entrepreneur right out of school. I went to art college, and my now ex-husband and I started a business together. 3 businesses, actually, 3 different entrepreneur businesses. And I did that for almost 15 years. And then I decided I needed to learn more and expand. I had a clothing design company. I had a graphic design business. We had a signage company. So we did all kinds of different things. And I loved that essence of exploring and launching new things and being a part of something that was new and exciting. And I decided to go back to school to study marketing and marketing strategy. And then I spent 20 years in corporate and in financial services, which I never thought I would ever be a part of because I had art-directed annual reports for a couple of financial services organizations. And I was like, oh man, I would never do that. And then I spent 20 years doing that, doing marketing and kind of learning. I think one of the reasons I loved it so much was because I learned so much through those 20 years working for very high-profile, progressive positions, working my way up, not intentionally, but working my way up, finding community and realizing how much bigger and more impactful a world we could be living in until it wasn't.
So I love this because we've talked about this on a couple of episodes where, like you, I was in corporate, not for 20 years, but 12. And I see this common thread where there's entrepreneurs who have no leadership experience, and there's entrepreneurs who come to the table with some experience from corporate who, as much as we love to say we're glad we're done with corporate, that we've fired our boss and we're doing our own thing, there's a lot of value and skills that are learned in big organizations and structure. So I love that you came out of the gate as an entrepreneur, though. And I'm curious what your childhood was like. Were you exposed to entrepreneurs? When you came out of school and were like, I'm going to go straight into starting my own business, where did you get that mentality versus most people who say, I must go work for someone else to be safe, to be successful? What was going through your mind? What kind of exposure did you have to have the confidence to just jump right in?
Great question. So interestingly enough, growing up, I grew up in a very government town. My mother worked for Revenue Canada and my father worked for CSIS, RCMP in Toronto. Mm-hmm. So it was very structured, very buttoned down. Mm-hmm. I knew in high school that I needed to get out of that town. Mm-hmm. And there was something pulling me towards something that was far more creative. And I moved to Toronto from Ottawa as soon as I could because my influences probably came after I left home. I don't know, there was something inside me. It was like, this is not the life for you. You are not going to be living a government job. You know, that's just not in your DNA. Maybe it's because I'm a middle child. Maybe it's because I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert, but at the same time, there's something that was just pulling me forward. Mm-hmm. I just loved exploring and learning, always learning something new that was challenging and taking me outside my comfort zone. And there's nothing like entrepreneurship to take you outside your comfort zone.
So true. Well, and I'm sure it paved the way for the journey that you've been on, because I know then you pivoted into corporate for 2 decades after getting some classic study and training in marketing. Mm-hmm. And here you are now as a successful CMO. And we're going to get into that and what that is and how you're operating. I know personally with working with you this year, just witnessing the growth and explosion of your business, the opportunity that's out there for what you're doing. In your journey of leaving your in the U.S., we call it like the W-2, like the paycheck, like in your journey to like leaving that corporate job to starting your marketing business. And I know we'll get into Fascinate and some of the stuff that you're doing there. What was that pivotal moment for you that you were like, I'm going to go bet on myself again. I'm going to go do this thing?
Some of it was I was pushed out the door. So I was in my last role 8.5 years and I was the head of marketing and I had built the marketing function from like 2 marketing coordinators and an event planner when I started and very reactive marketing to a fully strategic function within the organization with a team of 15 people supporting 5 lines of business and corporate. And the company had gone through a crisis. Coming out of that crisis, they brought in a whole new board of directors, a whole new C-suite, and they didn't really understand marketing. Like the president at my former company had told me once that your job is like pushing water uphill. And it truly was, because they never really understood what marketing could do. So at every turn, for me, it was a bit of a battle. And then a couple of years after we got through that crisis, which I had to navigate us through from a brand perspective and brand reputation, I was let go. And then COVID hit. So it was at the end of 2019. And I thought, well, for the first time in my life, like I've been a single mom since my kids were 5 and 7. And this was the first time that I had ever really stopped. And then COVID helped me stop a little bit longer. And then coming out of that, I think I just had this realization because I had started jumping on that bandwagon of go get another job. And I was shortlisted for another VP role. And I went, no, listen to what your gut is telling you, because in my heart, it was like, that's not your next power. This is happening for you, not to you. And so you need to stop and listen.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I was on the short list for another role and had gone through a number of interviews. And once I had this realization, I remember saying, oh my gosh, now I'm going to have to tell them that I don't want that role anymore. And oddly enough, the director, or the VP had called me back and she said, so I don't think you're exactly right for this role. And I went, that's awesome. She said, but we do need help and you have so much experience. Would you consider coming in on a contract? And I thought, well, that's perfect. And so that's what I did. And I started that way, kind of going like, I need to go back to my roots, take all of what I've learned for the last 20 years and help people like me when I started out as an entrepreneur. And I thought this is a perfect opportunity to bring the two together of me being an entrepreneur and understanding that journey as an entrepreneur and all the things that you have to think about.
Hey, gang. So I know some of you are listening to these episodes and you are like, wow, these mastermind members in Elevate 360 with Melissa sounds like they've had tremendous growth and tremendous transformation this year. I want to learn more. And if that's the case, and if some of this is resonating with you, definitely take a look at applying to our mastermind. The doors are open. The seats fill super fast. It is by application only. You can go to burnouttoallout.co, click on the programs, find the mastermind, and click to apply. We'll put the link in the show notes. But here's the thing. If you are an established business seeking to scale and optimize, if your 2025 goals include strategic growth, elevated branding, and high impact networking, if you're looking for in-depth, personalized, strategic guidance, like we're giving these women in this mastermind with elite business connections, if you're looking for exclusive gatherings, high touch support, retreat-based events, from team experts like me, and if you're recognizing the importance of a 360-degree approach to business, and you want to learn from the mentors who've been there and can be your Sherpa to take you to your business goals in 2025, definitely go to the website, burnouttoallout.co. Click on programs, go to the mastermind, and apply today. Would love to see your application come in. I am personally reviewing every single one of them. And if you're a good fit, we'll set up a clarity call to see if it's a good match.
And understanding what it takes to build a brand and marketing and understanding like the power of what a solid brand and authentic brand means. And I think the other side for me was living that corporate life for as long as I did. I learned a lot, but I lost who I was. I didn't know I was performing for other people. And there's something inside of me that was like, you need to do this for you now. You need to find a way that feels good, that you can be who you are. I'm an introvert. I'm a high sensitive person. All of those things in a corporate world are not necessarily accepted or encouraged.
Right.
So I just thought there's more people like me who can be successful in their own right. And I feel like I had the tools to bring the two together, and it just felt like the right time.
And you did.
And I did.
Louise, let's get into your zone of genius. Let's talk about brand and business. And you have to be a certain size to really start focusing on brand. Let's talk about that.
A lot of people think that brand is a logo, big and small. Some large businesses and CEOs sometimes. And when I started in my last role, I got, well, we have a brand, we have a logo, but they had no brand identity. They had no sense of purpose. And small businesses, as much as large businesses, brand is the foundation of who you are. It's how the world sees you. And it doesn't matter how big you are. It is your most valuable asset, but it's less understood. What I've learned over the years is that promise you make, it's not the logo. I mean, the logo is one asset of your brand.
Right.
But your true brand, it's that foundation of helping people understand, who are you? Why do you exist beyond making a profit?
Right.
And how do you present yourself? And how are you different? What is it who are you attracting? How are you different? How do you attract talent to your organization if you're larger? But even if you're a one-person entrepreneur like myself, when I started out, I still needed to define and be able to tell people who am I and what do I stand for in a way that's consistent, because the best definition of a brand for me is the value of a promise consistently kept.
Oh, say that one more time.
So your brand is the value of a promise consistently kept.
Wow.
I can't take credit. David Kincaid is one of the best brand mentors that I've ever had.
Yeah.
And he taught me that when I was learning so much about brand over the years. But I take that to heart. And when you think about, you have to define, what is that promise? And when you can clearly articulate and you know what you stand for, you also can repel the things that are not a fit for you. And you can attract people to your, you can attract clients who are a good fit. I call them my get to clients, not I have to clients.
Yes.
Right? If you pick up the phone and it's, oh my gosh, I get to talk to Melissa today.
Yes. I so look forward to our one-on-one coachings. They're like my favorite time of the month.
And so brand is powerful. And when you understand that, whether you're big or small, you need to have that brand foundation that allows you to propel with confidence who you are to the world. And then the logo and the assets and all of those other things make sense because you've got the guideposts.
So true. I see it many times in our kind of mini mastermind Build, Grow, Scale. Our clients will come in and they're so wrapped around the axle about their logo, about their website, about like they're so wrapped around the visual aspects of their brand, but they're not yet even clear on their own messaging, what they stand for, and who they're truly even attracting.
And I think the beauty and the additional challenge for an entrepreneur or a smaller business is that we often think that we as individuals are our business brand. And that's actually not true. There's a distinction. It's important to understand what your personal brand is because it is a big part of how you manifest and how you bring your business to you, especially at the beginning. But to create a business that scales, your business is its own identity.
Yes.
Because that's how you bring people in that you can then delegate and
scale and ultimately sell if you want to.
Ultimately sell. And I've gone through this recently with one of my clients who's working with CEOs and in professional development. But now she's trying to set her business up to sell, but she is so tied to her business that if she brings somebody else in, it almost feels like they're getting the beeline. Right? And you don't want that. You want your staff, you want everybody in your business to feel like that your clients are getting the top notch because they all represent your brand.
Right.
And they know what the promise is and they know what their role is in delivering that promise. So I spend a lot of time, like to me, when I develop a brand strategy, the logo, even the name of your business is like step 12.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. For the people in the back. Right. So true.
Because think of it as an iceberg. Your logo's the tip of the iceberg. But if you don't have everything that sits below the surface, you're subject to following trends instead of really understanding what you stand for and following your own North Star.
So good. Well, and with that, can you speak a little bit to personal branding and this Fascinate model that you speak to?
So when I bring the personal brand and business brand together for entrepreneurs, and this is coming from my own personal experience. So when I left my corporate job and decided to go out on my own, I've spent 20 years in corporate marketing, another 15 years as an entrepreneur doing everything from all kinds of stuff. I felt like a jack of all trades and master of none in that, how do I scale that back? How do I talk about myself in a way that is authentic and true? Because to be talking about I'm a brilliant brand strategist, or it just felt really inauthentic to me. And so I'm a junkie for all the personal tests. I've done Enneagram and Myers-Briggs and I've done them all. Human design, I know them all. And they were good for helping me understand myself. But when I came across Fascinate, because I was still looking for the words to help me communicate how am I different, Fascinate was developed by a marketer and her name is Sally Hogshead. And she helps you understand how the world sees you when you're at your best. It's based on research. She researched hundreds of thousands of brands as an advertising writer and was working with some of the most successful brands in the world. And she worked with a research company to understand what is it that makes brands fascinating. And it's not about the money they spend. And so with this research company, they studied like 100,000 brands and distilled it to 7 languages that we all speak. And everybody speaks all 7 languages, but there are 2 languages that are comfortable, that you're in your flow and you could riff all day. And when you speak those languages, you fascinate somebody. They capture their attention. The competition kind of fades away. And you can then attract people who are interested in something that feels really natural to you. So I did it for myself. And I was so blown away by the results. It's like a 28 question online, and it gave you the 16-page report right away. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. My language is passion, which is the language of relationships. And so I make connections with people. And yet, over the years, that was true, but it was also true that I could be a fly on the wall and a hermit. I'd go into hermit mode. And I never understood. I thought, there's something wrong with me that I'm like. And my second language is mystique. Mystique is the language of listening. And it is that quiet person in the room who is always analyzing, always picking up on the smallest cues that might come up. And then from there, you put solutions together. And I was like, oh. So my archetype, which is the top 2 languages, is called the intrigue. And it is the opposite ends of the spectrum. And I am kind of like an oddball in that world. But at least I know it's true. And I can lead it. It's almost like it gave me permission to be myself. And so I was so blown away by it. And I was already working on brands. I thought, I want this in my toolbox. So I went and got certified to be able to use Fascinate with my clients and help them understand who they are. And I can't tell you how many times when I'm working with clients and teams and their teams to help their teams function better together, that I get these aha moments when the lights go on, I'm like, you mean that's just who I am and I can just be that person? I'm like, yeah, you can just be that person. And we develop your anthem that helps you explain the words you can use to help bring people to you. I actually had the wrong name of my company when I first started. And it wasn't until I did Fascinate, after I did Fascinate, I actually changed the name of my business.
Oh, wow.
That's true. Because I had initially, like, there's the 7 languages, power is one. And of those 7, you always have one that's your least effective way of communicating. For me, that's power. I'm not a person that's going to come in and dominate the room and like, okay, guys, let's make decisions. I'm a collaborative leader. It doesn't mean I can't be a leader either. It just means that I understand that part of So when my companies wheeled marketing, because the tagline for me was, I want to put the power of marketing into your hands. That was my goal at the outset. But there was something in me that was like, I never designed a logo. I had sat with it for over a year, never did anything with it. And then after I did Fascinate, I'm like, oh, it's the wrong name.
Wow.
Wield is all about power. No wonder it was sticking with me and going, this isn't right. So I changed it to the Firefly effect. Because for me, it's about that passion that lives inside you, that glow that we can help illuminate and bring to life.
Yes. Okay. And with that Firefly effect, I know that you have really run with the CMO role after leaving corporate, contracting back. And now I know personally from seeing the inside of your business, it's really taken off. For our listeners who are curious about this fractional space where maybe they were previously a VP or an executive and now looking to exit and consult back, can you speak a little bit to these trends specifically with the fractional CMO role and how it's working out for you?
Yeah, it's been a game changer for me. And it's more than just a title change. The structure, when I did consulting and contract work for 2 or 3 years when I first started out after I was laid off, but I still felt like I lack that kind of what's my offer and how do I bring it all together in a way that feels it has some structure to it or that I can build off this. And then I heard about being a fractional CMO because there's still so many things I love to be able to do. I just don't want to do it full time for anybody. Right. And so I don't want the politics, but I love the people. I love the teams that I get to work with. And so this fractional CMO started coming into the vocabulary. I'm like, what is this fractional CMO? And what it is essentially when you take the talent, the expertise of somebody who's got the knowledge for what you're trying to do, whether it's helping to build your team, build strategy, oversight, all of the things that a normal CMO would do, but for a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time. So you get them for the time that you need. For me, it's about 10 hours a week that I would commit to any particular client. And I make sure it's in my niche, in a fit in an industry or something that I feel like that knowledge I can bring to them. And I get the benefit of working with multiple clients. They get the benefit of having the expertise of a CMO at a fraction of the cost. And for a lot of the CEOs that I work with, one of the biggest things they love is that they don't know what to do with their marketing team. Because their marketing teams generally are small. They may be a couple of people on their marketing team, and they don't have the strategy. They're tactical. And in my own job previously, they don't understand marketing. They know they need it, but they don't necessarily know how to make it a strategic function and something that's beyond tactical. That's what I help them get to. Help them feel like they're understood because I know the business really well. I understand financial services, which is really my niche. And I also understand what it takes to develop a team and to help the team function really well. So tapping into a CMO community or fractional CMO community has been really helpful for me to learn the ropes on how to become a good fractional CMO and have that structure. And that helps me be able to deliver.
It's beautiful. And as this year, we've hired on our own fractional CMO. And like you said, we feel like she's full-time to us. But she's probably working 10 hours a week on our business, but she's leading the strategy, giving us the organization of who to hire that's internal, full-time for us, that support up the projects that she maps out for us. So I think it's such a needed role.
And it's more than just a consultant. So people kind of get confused. Well, what's the difference? They actually see me as part of their team. I am part of the executive team within that organization. And I'm also part of the executive team of another organization.
And they don't work, and they don't control your hour. Like, they don't control your vacation time and tell you when and when you can't work, which is the beauty of the fractional piece, which is just incredible. Love this so much. When we talk about the fractional CMO work, and I know that you specialize mostly in the financial spaces, is where you've had your background. What is working for you? Because I know you said you can barely take on another client. You're so busy right now. So what are you doing to generate leads with your business? And what do you do when your plate is full?
Great question. I delegate. So my leads have come networking.
Yep.
And the biggest rip the Band-Aid moment for me as an introvert was really starting to put myself out there on LinkedIn. As you know. And
we've talked about this, the cobbler with no shoes. She's like the CMO for everyone else, but she's not marketing herself.
Exactly. At my heart, I'm still an introvert. And when I ripped the Band-Aid off and realized I needed to delegate that part of my business to someone who understood me, understood what I bring to the table, is also my personal brand is about my heart and my authenticity and bringing that heartbeat into the brands and the businesses that I work for. And so when I left, as I grow and start building my network, I'm also looking at how can I expand my own team to delegate so that the things that I don't need to be doing, I am starting to working on delegating more of that. But I'm also really discerning about who I bring in. Because I want to be able to deliver and I want to be able to be who I say I'm going to be and part of that team. But there's a part of me that also, I still have my passion projects. I still have other things that I want to do and that I'm building in a parallel path. So I'm happy saying no to some clients who are not a fit. And that was a really hard thing for me to do at the beginning. I would take everything in.
Well, of course, because every crumb is a meal when you're first getting started. But now you get to choose.
Now I get to choose.
Yeah.
And I'm so much happier.
Yes. Well, and let's talk about this. This is a podcast about inspiring other entrepreneurs, inspiring people to go. And so I would love for a minute just to break down where you were last year, numbers wise, to where you are today, and the goals we have set for you for next year. Because this is really inspirational for people who are in executive roles, currently looking at towing the line of going to the other side. So can we talk about like where you were with your book of business last year and just 365 days later, where you are today and what you have in your business plan for next year?
Yeah. So when I first met you last year, about this time, I had just signed up the Link Academy.
Yeah. And the Lead Gen Academy for the attorneys out there. No,
At the time, it was still there. So we're going back historical. We know it's changed. And with that, I got a free ticket
to the live event.
Yeah. I was like, okay, what the hell? Let's go. Yeah. I didn't know anybody. I also didn't have any business at the time. I was...
Okay, so let's say this one more time. Louise had no business.
I had no business.
October of last year.
It had been 3 months.
Okay.
With 0 clients coming in and me kind of scrambling to take whatever breadcrumbs I could find.
Right.
But I knew that there was something pulling me and that it's out there and I just need to find it. I thought the live event, I was going to go deep in understanding LinkedIn.
That's not funny.
Not going to lie. Because I had literally like 3 weeks, 3 weeks after I signed up, I'm in Nashville.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, I've also never been to Nashville. So I'm like, okay, that'll be fun. Yeah. Didn't know a soul. Me, the introvert, going to Nashville on a whim and going, okay, what the hell? And I was so inspired. And I literally, between one of the sessions, I went back to my room and I literally sketched out my vision for this year. And I remember telling you at the end of the event, I'm like, I'm going to be on stage with you next year.
Yes. And you're going to be on stage with us in just a couple weeks.
Awesome. Yeah. But the amazing thing that happened and what I realized is I had been focusing so much on executing and finding a business and pushing down something that I have done my entire life, which is pushing down who I am and mindset. And that was something that we started unpacking at the live event as well. So when I got back, I continued with that and I started to manifest. I started to really allow myself to think about what does this look like for you? And so my goal for this year, so last year, my revenue for the entire year was still, like, by all standards, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't paying all my bills. I was draining my line of credit. My goal was to hit $150,000, which was more than double what my last year's revenue was. Right. I hit that in June of this year.
Yes. So you doubled your revenue from last year by June of this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And on the path that I'm at, I will surpass my stretch target for the whole year, which was like $350,000.
Yes. Okay. So we went from, I don't know, like 100 and change.
Yeah.
To 250 this year. So you grew it by 350%.
Yeah.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
And what's your goal next year?
My goal next year is $1 million.
Say it one more time.
My goal next year is to hit that $1 million.
That's right. Oh my gosh. I love this. And the thing I love is it was an intertwined journey of, like you said, the inner work, but also with that inner work, realizing you needed to be seen. There was some work that you needed to do inside in order to feel safe, in order to be seen on the outside, which is what you do for your clients all the time. And once you're able to take that step, the visibility, I mean, you've got the product that delivers. You've got the services that people love. And now it's just putting a megaphone to who you are.
Yeah, and having the confidence and the support. And I would say that from my perspective, this past year, that's a big part of the transformation for me. I've done the work, but I've also had the support. And not just the support from a tactical, go and do this, go on LinkedIn, go and create this lead magnet and all of those things. Those are tactical things that I've known that's what I should be doing for years.
Right.
And they're not happening.
Right. So what's different?
The difference is when you talk about it being 360, for me, that 360 means internal and external. It's addressing the who I am, not just what I do.
Oh, I love that. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, it's tying in who I am to what I do. Up until this point, I've been struggling because I felt like I lived this divided existence.
Yes.
How you share who you are with the world and who you are inside. There's a wall. And I think there's a wall with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Letting down that wall and being vulnerable is a really scary place to be. But for me, it's the only thing that was stopping me from my success.
From your success. Yes.
Was the internal part that I had to deal with.
Yes.
And through the things that we've learned, that you've shared with us, everything from the hypno breath work and all of the emotional side of running a business. You can't be successful authentically and sustainably and to scale, in my opinion, with that barrier still in place. And as hard as it is to break that down, for me, the single most important part that I attribute to my success this year.
So good. And it's been such a joy to witness and to see. It's just been so much fun. Well, Louise, so with all that you have going on right now, and I know that you work as a fractional CMO, but you also have some fun things in the works for potentially some of our listeners. Can you share with us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So when I think about the things that I love, which are working with entrepreneurs and also all of the great things that I have learned as a fractional CMO and the people that I get to work with, my goal is to smash the two together and become a guide as a personal fractional CMO, a personal CMO for entrepreneurs. And so the program that I'm developing is taking the best of both worlds, where you can learn and develop your own personal brand in a parallel path to your business brand. So you learn from the get-go that they're not one and the same, but they're both equally important. I think I've had this philosophy of, in order for people to know, like, and trust you, you have to know, like, and trust yourself.
So good.
And that is part of the Firefly program. I call it your brand brilliance program. And so I'm going to be launching that in the fall for entrepreneurs who really want to be part of having that support, the community and the support that I've learned from you, frankly, in terms of how to set up that type of a program, bring the expertise that I'm learning and I'm involved in every day. And that's everything from understanding things like AI that help you as an entrepreneur myself, understanding the tools. And again, it's not just about the tactical, but it's also unpacking who are you as a person? What's your fascinate profile? How do you fascinate others? Because you can have 4 people who all do exactly the same thing. You went to the same school, you have the same degrees. You might even have worked at the same companies, but yet your language is so different and who you attract is going to be so different. And when you have that understanding, it's so empowering and freeing, frankly, because you don't have to stop looking at competition. You can just stay in your lane, be confident that you're going to be, and I want to build that confidence in people. I want them to feel confident and knowledgeable and know that they have the support to build a successful business from brand through to marketing and know that they have that support.
It's incredible. And I'm excited to see it come to fruition. So how can people sign up or find out about it, connect with you?
So fireflyeffect.ca is my website.
Okay.
And on that website, there is a sign-up form to join the waitlist.
Oh, perfect.
And for the next program, and I would keep you informed. There's also on that website, there's some downloads that you can go in and to help you on your journey, even just to start your brand brilliance journey with some little workshop things that you can do to get you started. But yeah, that would be the best way. And feel free to reach out to me.
All right. Well, awesome, Louise. This has been so phenomenal. Okay, so share with us one more time your website and also your preferred social channel for people to connect with you.
Great. Yeah. So my website is fireflyeffect.ca. Effect with an E, not an A. And you can find me on LinkedIn. That's really my best social channel. And it's MCL Taylor.
Okay.
Or MC Louise Taylor. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember my own LinkedIn.
We'll have it in the show notes. Yeah. Well, Louise, this has been phenomenal. Thank you for flying here from Canada to do this interview in person, to share your journey, inspire people of your in and out from entrepreneurship to corporate, back to entrepreneurship, the inspiration of going from dry on your business to growing your business by 350% this year, to setting a goal for $1 million in revenue next year, and knowing that a huge piece of it was going within, that it wasn't a business strategy. It was the work you needed to do within so that you could be seen. Thank you so much for sharing your story. You're such an inspiration, and I can't wait to see you again in October.
I can't wait
at the
to
live
see
event.
You. Thank you so much for having me. I just love everything that my whole life feels like it has just done a 360 in the last not even 12 months.
I love that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, guys, another inspirational interview from one of my clients in my Elevate 360 Mastermind, where we take a 360-degree approach to business because bodies build businesses. And today you're hearing from fractional CMO and brand strategist Louise Taylor. And if you are currently straddling an executive role and aspiring to step out and consult or start your own business, you are going to want to listen in to her story of a 20-year stint as an executive in a CMO role in corporate to pivoting to where she is today in a multi-six-figure business, really pushing towards the seven-figure goal in her third full year of being in business as a fractional CMO. This is a sexy word we're hearing a lot about these days, that fractional role, whether you're coming in many different aspects. It could be a fractional CFO, it could be a fractional sales leader, you name it. But today, Louise is shedding light on what it looks like to be a fractional CMO, and she's sharing her inner journey that she went on to actually go within to unblock and expand so that she could be seen in her light on social in a way that was immediately attracting her ideal clients to scale and grow her business by over 350% in 1 year. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode.
Thanks, guys, so much for listening in on today's podcast episode. And I can't wait for you to see my upcoming guest in the next episode. You are going to love this keynote speaker. Hey, here's the deal. If you liked this, please subscribe and leave a review. And you want the latest online business growth strategies and exclusive LinkedIn pro tips sent straight to your phone? Text the word update to 704-318-2285. That is, text the word update to 704-318-2285. Can't wait to see you guys. Come find me over on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you like to hang. I cannot wait to hear how you are enjoying and applying what you're learning. You guys reach out to me over on social because I love hearing what's resonating with you. When you reach out to me and you send me those personal DMs, they really do impact the content I continue to bring forward to you. So again, come find me, Melissa_Hinault over on Instagram, Melissa Hinault over on LinkedIn and Facebook. Can't wait to see you guys over there.